We welcome David Nixon in studio. Huge fan of the Wyoming Cowboys. We'll get to that in a moment. But David, welcome back to BYU Sports Nation.
Hey,
man.
Always feels great to be here in studio.
Absolutely. We've been talking about our way too early projections. The 2016 season isn't even over. We don't care. So we're talking about our projections for the 2017 BYU football season. What do you think of that schedule? What's your way too early projection?
The fact that you're devoting time to this is just mind-boggling.
It shows every day.
We have all of January through August to discuss this later down the road.
And now we have December.
If you want to address it now, let's go with it. You know what? I look at the schedule. I'm pretty optimistic. I mean, obviously, BYU fan base is known to be almost overly optimistic. But I'm jumping on that. I'm jumping on that bandwagon.
Yeah. What was that?
Yeah, and with that, BYU I think goes 10-3 next year. Boom.
Yeah.
Through the blue goggles or without? Because the blue goggles, you can go 13-0, man.
No, 10-3 with the blue goggles.
With the blue
goggles.
it's
a conservative 10-3.
Okay.
What do you think about playing the quote unquote tune-up game before LSU, having Portland State start the year off?
I love it. I mean, it's one of those games where you work out your kinks. Tanner Mangum will be starting. You're gonna have a defensively. You lose Kai Nakua, Harvey Longy. You lose some big time playmakers, and so to be able to have some other guys step in and have a game like situation. And Portland State's a formidable opponent. I mean, this is no slouch of a team. And so we see most programs do this. Utah did it with SU this year, right? Most teams get a warm-up. BYU, because Independence, they have been unable to do it.
Or they get them in November.
They get them later down the road, right? I love it because it's a home game. BYU hasn't opened with the home game since 2012. And so this is a great chance that BYU gets to, the fans get to come and rally around the guys, support them on the first game, and almost send them off to Houston the next week against LSU.
You opened up with an FCS opponent your senior year in Northern Iowa. I believe that's the only other time BYU's opened up with an FCS opponent. So how did that help you guys that season?
Yeah, like I said, it's just great to tweak. It's great to get in there and be like in a game-like situation, and you're not playing against the best talent in the world. So it gives you time to kind of prepare, get used to the game speed, and more than anything, it preserves you from getting injured. Usually these games because you're not going against the best guys in the country. You're not having guys dinged up, and we saw it this year. Guys were starting to drop like flies through week 1, 2, 3, and so it's tough to kind of maintain the momentum. But if you can go out there and accomplish everything you need to accomplish, go out there and play a great game and execute perfectly, then it allows you to kind of be tuned up and ready to go for the next week against LSU.
One of the things that I liked about it was not only do you get a lot of home games early, and so you're only going out on a road once in November, and fans don't necessarily want to go when it's 20 degrees to 3 or 4 home games late in the season, but you get Utah at home, you get Boise State at home, you have Wisconsin coming here. I love this schedule, especially for the home.
Yeah, it's stacking up pretty awesome. I mean, if you're a senior coming into this next year, you're loving this home schedule. I mean, you've got Utah and Wisconsin both back to back here at home, and so that's what Portland State allows you to kind of get a win underneath your belt. Then you had to play a very tough LSU team with the new head coach. I mean, he's been there for half the season, but he's gonna have new coordinators, so it's almost like a new team. And then you come home and you play Utah and Wisconsin, and hopefully by then you've worked out your own kinks and you've got everything rolling, and you're kind of a well-oiled machine at that point to be able to play well at home. And that's always the key. You've got to win at home. You got to go undefeated at home. If you can do that, then you're bowl eligible usually, right? And so that's always the goal: is can you win at home, and then obviously go on the road and pick up some big valuable wins as well. David
Nixon is on BYU Sports Nation. You can catch him on After Further Review coming up tonight at 7 Eastern, and, of course, on Countdown to Kickoff and the postgame show as well. Okay, I think it was 2 weeks ago we talked about the potential matchup with a team from a nearby state, and you said this about the possibility of the matchup with Wyoming on BYU Sports Nation.
Wyoming, really? Wyoming? People want to play Wyoming? That's like literally the last team I'd want to play. Mostly because they travel all 12 of their fans down to San Diego, and the entire stadium will be empty. And then I don't care if Wyoming's number 1 in the country. I would still not want to play them. Literally like the worst matchup ever.
Tell me how you really feel, David.
Well, David.
BYU's matched up with Wyoming, dog.
Until you played twice in Laramie, then you can't really understand the full hatred you have against Wyoming. Until you have beer poured on your head, and you have people yelling all sorts of cities at you as you're walking out the field, then you really can't fully understand the hatred you have for that team. But listen, it is what it is, and the fact is, Wyoming's actually a pretty good team. That's what you look at.
This
Wyoming,
is a different kind of Wyoming.
It's not a sexy matchup when you look at the name of the program, but when you look at what they've done this year, they beat San Diego State, they beat Boise State,
both at home.
Both at home, yeah. So obviously they're a different team at home. Ultimately, they lost their last game at home to San Diego State again, which is always tough to be a team twice in the same year. as we saw against UCLA when they tried to beat us twice in the same year, beat them on the block field, whatever. But I would say that it's not like I said, it's not a sexy matchup per se, but they are a great team and they've got weapons, and it'll be a team that BYU's going to have their hands full with. But it's also one of those opponents where you're supposed to beat them, right? And so if you beat them, great, you're in the season, fantastic, but if you lose to them, then it's one of those, man, it's a huge downer for the offseason. So there's not a ton to gain here. But at the end of the day, it's one more extra bowl game or game in a bowl game. And what I love about bowl games is you're usually the only team on television that day. Primetime television. It's
the only game.
It's
the
only
only bowl game that day.
Exactly, on the 21st. So everyone in the country's watching. Most people are now pretty much off work, so they're able to sit around and watch the games. So if anything, if you're not stoked about the matchup as a player, at least it's a chance for you to go out there and showcase your abilities and be able to show everyone else watching around the country.
Well, we know that Tanner Mangum is going to be the quarterback. What do you think are realistic expectations for him? Because by the time that game will be played, he'll have basically a month of practices where he is the guy. What's reasonable expectations for him in that?
Well, one of the things I've been impressed with Tanner this year is when he has come in mop-up duty, against Utah State and against SUU, he came in and performed pretty well. I mean, I think that Ty Detmer did a great job of structuring the offense around him and his abilities. I think you'll see the read option, the zone read stuff, that's going to be tossed out. We won't see much of that against Wyoming.
Although Tanner against UMass was trying to be a runner.
He was trying to be a runner. He was at the second lean rusher, I think, that game. He ended up being outrushed Taysom. But no, I think you'll see a kind of a different offense, which once again, this is huge. I mean, you have 3 weeks to prepare for Wyoming, but there are also 3 practices that you can really count towards almost another spring ball. Yeah. And so for these guys, and especially for Tanner and the rest of his offense, the guys will be returning next year, these are very valuable. And so I think Tanner comes in and plays well, and it'll be interesting to see how the offense – is he under center more, and what type of offense Ty rolls out for him to kind of play to his abilities and to his strengths. So all in all, if there's any silver lining in the Taysom injury, it's this. It's the fact that Tanner gets in there and gets one solid game under his belt heading into next year.
I look at this bowl game as preparation for LSU, just like Portland State. I really do. And because the difference between 8 and 9 is not that much, but it would be significant to get to 9. And now you have the bowl prep and whatnot. How was your bowl prep? Because you wanted to win those games, but it's also kind of weird, right? You have finals. Like BYU hasn't really practiced post Utah State until now. They give them some time off, kind of rest up.
Yeah, it's one of those times where the first week or so you usually have off to kind of get your body ready. And then it's weird because you start getting back in game mode, although your season's been done because you finished the last regular season game. At the seniors, you did your send-off at home.
There was like some closure there.
You got your blankets. Yeah, so it's always kind of actually a weird emotion. And then there's such a long draw that your first couple series in the bowl game are pretty tough because you have to adjust back to the full speed. I know Bronco used to try to make as many one-on-one opportunities during practice for us to go against the number 1 offense versus number 1 defense to simulate that. But it is tough. It's tough to get back in the mode. With that being said, after the first couple series, it's back playing football again, right? So I'm excited for this team. I think this is obviously a great opportunity. More than anything, it's a great opportunity for them to end the year on a high note and send them into the offseason with the new quarterback, with Tanner coming back, with some confidence. And for them to kind of look back and refresh and kind of evaluate how this year went. And be able to look at it, okay, we finished 9-4, pretty solid season, and use that confidence to build on during the offseason with Tanner back at the helm and with some of these younger guys now stepping into big roles.
Good stuff, David. We appreciate the time. We'll check you out tonight on After Further View at 7 Eastern. Thanks, brother.
Okay, got it.